It's harder. We push a watermelon out of our vagina. Membranes. I really don't know. I'm not a doctor. Don't ask me. I had to poop. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Happy Friday. Thank freaking goodness it's Friday. It has been the longest week. Oh, bless you. It has been the longest week. I'm so happy it's Friday. I'm ready for the weekend, and I'm just I'm thrilled. It's harder. So today's video is going to be Ellie's birth story. I wanted to film a birth vlog when I had her, and that just didn't work out. Her labor and delivery was like super quick, so it just didn't work out. I need to find something on my phone actually. Hold up. Okay, so I have like a timeline of events here.
2 hours later.
Okay, well that's cool because I can't find it. Yay. I thought I took a screenshot of it, but apparently not. So we're going to talk about Ellie's birth story. Ellie's birthday was incredible. Just like the birth of the boys, it was one of the best days of my life. But hers was so fast and so quick. It was just like, it was amazing. Labor and delivery is by far like my most favorite part of being pregnant, and you know, just that whole experience. I absolutely love going into labor and going through the whole laboring process and giving birth. I don't know why, it's just it's so beautiful to me. Just what our bodies can do and what we as women are able to do and what we give birth to, like, it's just incredible to me. Like, we push a watermelon out of our vagina, like, holy shit, man. Like, oh my god, I don't know, it's just so beautiful to me. So with Ellie, I'm going to go back a little bit before I actually had her. We never thought that I would make it to my due date, which I didn't. I was induced. But we never thought that I would make it to my due date because Brayden, when I went into labor with him, I was 39 weeks and 3 days. And then Dominic, I was 38 weeks and 6 days. So I went into labor on my own with both of them. My body does a pretty good job with labor. Brayden, I pushed 2.5 hours, but I was really young. I was 17 and he was my first baby. So that's completely normal. With Dominic, I only pushed 30 minutes. Brayden's total like labor, like active labor, was about 13 hours. Dominic's, what? Dominic's was about 10 hours. And then Ellie, from when I was admitted to the hospital to when I had her, was like 5.5 hours, 6.5 hours. 6.5 hours, but from when my induction started to when I had her was 5.5 hours, so it was like super fast. So we never thought that I'd make it to my due date. My doctor never thought I'd make it to my due date, and Brayden was 8 pounds 12 ounces. Dominic was 8 pounds 7 ounces, so my doctor wanted to induce me a week early anyways because she thought that Ellie would be just as big. So we knew pretty early on that if I didn't have her by 39 weeks I would be induced, which I was completely fine with. I 100% trust my doctor. I 100% trust her judgment, and I'm okay with that. Hi. So at 38 weeks, I went in and I had my membranes stripped. If you don't know what that is, your doctor inserts a finger up there and just kind of does a sweep around and separates. I think she separates like the sac from like the wall or something. I really don't know. I'm not a doctor. Don't ask me. But she did a membrane sweep, and sometimes that can just help send you into labor, kind of get things moving if your body's ready. If your body is not ready, it's not going to work. And I really thought that it worked. So like 2 days later, I had my bloody show, so I lost my mucus plug and there was some blood in it as well. And I was having contractions, but they were very irregular. Like I would have like contractions for like every 7 minutes for like an hour or two, and then they would stop and then they would come back. And so I kept thinking like, oh, this is it, this is starting, and it didn't happen. But also at my appointment, we scheduled my induction for 39 weeks. It was supposed to be December 31st. My doctor was going out of town, so that was the only day that she could do it before my due date, like right when I was 39 weeks. So she told me we would schedule it. But I had an appointment. I had another appointment before then. Oh, I had to come in the day before. I had to come in the day before, and she said that she would, so she said she was going to call me. She was going to try and get it for December 31st or the day before. So she said she was going to call me with the day and time that it was scheduled. I never got a call, but it was like Christmas and things like that. So I went in for my appointment on the 27th. 27th. My gosh. My goodness. I went in for my appointment on the 27th, and I was still pregnant. She said that the hospital was completely booked, that they couldn't induce me until the 31st. So we scheduled it for the 31st at 6 a.m. So the weekend went by, my boys were sick, and Sunday, December 30th, they woke up like super sick, like fevers, just not feeling well at all. And so my nephew had tested positive for the flu. So I was like, you know what, we might as well go get them tested just to be sure. I want to make sure that I get this done before I go in for my induction. So I took them to urgent care, and they tested positive for the flu the day before my induction, and I was terrified. I am so scared of her getting sick and something happening to her. I feel like you read so many stories now, and like babies are dying and they're getting sick, and it freaks me out. I am extra paranoid about everything, and I was so scared that I was going to bring her home and she was going to get the flu. What you doing? Oh, thank you. I love you. So the doctor at urgent care kind of freaked out because I was pregnant, and she's like, oh my god, if you get the flu, like this is dangerous, it can cause stillbirth. Like she like totally freaked out. She freaked me out, and she's like, you need to call your doctor now, tell them that your kids have the flu. And she's like, you need to call your doctor now, like this is dangerous. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm being induced tomorrow. And she's like, you need to call your doctor now. So I called the doctor's office. So I called the after hours operator, and she's like, you know, I'll call you back. I don't really know what's going to happen, but let me call you back. And so she called me back. She said that it was fine, just go in for my induction, and my doctor said it was fine, whatever. So we went home and kind of just relaxed the rest of the night. I did go out to dinner with my sister-in-law. We went to Olive Garden. The boys were supposed to go to my sister's the next day. So we went home. I didn't sleep very much. I had a really hard time sleeping. I just like, my anxiety was through the roof because I had never been induced, and I was so scared. I had a really hard time sleeping that night. I was just like freaking out. I had never been induced before, and I had heard horror stories. Like everyone was like, don't get induced, don't get induced. It's so bad. You're going to end up with a C-section. Like I feel like there are so many like bad things that people say about inductions, and I had like the complete opposite experience. And then I was scared that she was going to get the flu, and so then I started questioning, am I being selfish by having my induction because she's going to be born and get the flu? Like I was so nervous the night before, and me and my husband just kind of stayed up talking all night. We stayed up till like 1 in the morning. And then I had to be up at 5 so that I could get myself ready, get the boys ready, drop them off at my sister's, and then be to the hospital by 6. I think I actually got up at like 4:30. Yeah, I got up at 4:30. So I got up at 4:30. I had a little bit to eat, a small breakfast. I got all of our stuff together that like needed to be thrown in our bags last minute. We got loaded up in the car, and then we took the boys to my sister's, dropped them off, and we drove to the hospital. When I got there, I checked in at 6 o'clock. They got me in. I had to wait maybe like 5-10 minutes for my nurse to come get me. And then they got me in the room, got me hooked up to the monitors, and she came in. She asked me a ton of questions. We went over what would happen, and then she started my IV. My Pitocin started at 7 o'clock, and my contractions, I'd say they started around like 7:30, but she kept coming in and she's like, oh, I don't see anything on the monitor. But the monitor was like not placed correctly, she said that because she had to fix it. So I think my contractions started a little bit earlier than I had originally thought, because I remember thinking like feeling something, and you know, I know what a contraction feels like, but I've never been induced, so I don't know what it feels like to, you know, I don't know. I was kind of like second guessing myself. And so the contractions started between like 7:30 and 8. By 8 o'clock, they were pretty decent, which I was surprised because everything that I read had said that it's going to be a really slow process. I probably won't feel anything for a couple of hours. And so I was just expecting to be there all day long. So my husband's original plan was to go to, he was going to take me to the hospital. He was going to go to work until noon. Then he was going to go drive out to pick up his mom. She broke her foot and wasn't able to drive. So he was going to go pick her up and then meet me at the hospital. And at first I told him like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. And then I was like, well, I really don't want to labor by myself. Like, and I don't want to be put in that position to where like, if something happens that he has to rush there and then he might miss something. So I kind of asked him to change his plan, which he did. So I forget where I left off. My contractions picked up pretty quickly. And my husband and his mom went to go eat around like 7:30, 8 o'clock. I don't really know the exact time. But my doctor came in at 8:08 and she broke my water. I forgot to mention, I'm going to be all over the place. Okay. I suck at this. When I got there, I was, like a soft, or a hard 3 centimeters dilated, I think is how she put it. So like I was barely 3 centimeters, but at 3 centimeters and 60% effaced. My doctor came in and broke my water at 8:08 and I was like a good 3 centimeters dilated and 80% effaced. So she broke my water, my contractions picked up more, and by 11, they were like really hitting me and I was like, okay, you know, I kind of want to get my epidural, like I don't want to do this all day. Like I was just kind of at my point where I just wanted to relax. I was having a hard time because when you have an induction with Pitocin, you're not allowed to walk around. The hospital doesn't have portable monitors, so I had to stay hooked up to the monitor to make sure that her heartbeat was good. And I didn't know that going into this. I thought that I would still be able to walk around because I've seen plenty of videos and heard plenty of stories of mothers who were induced with Pitocin and were still able to walk around. Our hospital doesn't allow it, and they don't have the portable monitors for it. So that was kind of disappointing for me. I do much better if I can get up and walk around. Laboring in a bed is really hard. So I asked for a ball. She gave me a ball to sit on. And so I sat on that, and then I decided around 11 that I wanted the epidural. Trying to think here. I asked for it. I think I told myself I was going to wait like at 11, I think I told myself I'm going to get to like 11:15 or 11:20, and then I'm going to ask for the epidural because my nurse told me, she said, you know, once you tell me you want the epidural, she had to do a couple of things. So she said it would be about 10 to 15 minutes before I actually got it after I'd asked for it. So I asked for it. She came in and she's like, okay, let's get you up in your bed. I had to go to the bathroom. I had to poop. So I went into the bathroom. I did my business. I got up in the bed, and then the doctor, the anesthesiologist came in and placed the epidural. It didn't hurt. I have never really thought that my epidurals were that painful. My first one kind of scared me because I could feel the grinding as he was putting the epidural in. But I think it just scared me more than anything. I'm not a needle fan at all. So he put the epidural in, and you know, he was asking if it was working, and I kind of felt like my contractions were a little bit shorter, but they were still hurting really bad. So my contractions were still like really hurting. I'd say he placed the epidural between like 11:30 and 11:45-ish. And my contractions were still pretty painful. They laid me down, which sucked. I think that was the hardest part for me. It was laying down while I was having contractions because the epidural wasn't working and I couldn't sit up. I couldn't move or anything because I'd had the epidural, and even though it wasn't working, you're still not allowed to do anything because you're still considered a fall risk. So my nurse kept coming in and she's like, you know, is it working? Is it working? And I'm like, you know, it still hurts. And so she tried having me push like the button, and it just wasn't working. I was frustrated. And like I was in a lot of pain. My husband had went downstairs to get a snack in the cafeteria. My doctor came in. Oh, so after my nurse, after my epidural, they laid me down, and my nurse checked me, and I was 5 centimeters dilated. And I was kind of disappointed because I was like, you know, I was hoping I had made it a little bit farther, because with Dominic, I made it to 7 centimeters before I got an epidural. But the epidural wasn't working. So then she checked me again because my doctor came in and she said, you know, I'm going for a C-section. I want to check you really quick, and then I'll be back after the C-section. So she checked me and I was at 8 centimeters. my doctor left. And right away, like not even 5 minutes later, my nurse walked out of the room, and I'm sitting there and I'm having contractions. They're hurting really bad. She had mentioned how if the epidural didn't kick in a couple minutes, she was going to have the anesthesiologist come in and do something to it. I forget what she called it. But she was going to have him do something to it to see if he could make it work. And right away, I was sitting there. My mother-in-law was on the phone. It was like 12:08, and I'm like, I need to push. And so I called my nurse, or I pushed like the help button or whatever and called my nurse. And I was like, I feel like I need to push. She came in and she checked my cervix, and she's like, yep, her head is right here. So Ellie's head was right there, about to come out. My nurse had to literally hold her in. So she tried calling my doctor, and my doctor had already scrubbed in for the C-section, and she said that she couldn't leave because she had already started. So she said that she couldn't leave. My mother-in-law called my husband and said, you need to get up here now. Like, she's pushing. And my nurse just kept telling me, she's like, don't push, just breathe through it, just breathe through it. And that was so hard, just like trying to breathe through it, because like releasing and kind of like letting my body push felt so good when I had a contraction. Like, it just relieved everything. So it was really hard for me to not push. So my husband got there as they were setting me up for delivery. They were able to page another doctor. He was actually a family medicine doctor. They were able to get him in there. He was like, do I have time to get gloves on? Which he did. My nurse told him to hurry up. He didn't even have like time to get like fully suited up, like nothing. He just put his gloves on. He sat at the end of the bed and he told me to push. So I pushed twice. Like the first time I pushed, mid-push, my sister-in-law comes running in because she had just gotten off work. My sister-in-law comes running in. I pushed twice and they put her up on my chest, and just like seeing her, like seeing my daughter, was like one of the best feelings in the world. When I had Brayden, I didn't get to hold him right away because he came out in distress. With Dominic, I got to hold him right away, and I will always say, like, that skin to skin right away, like a baby just being placed on your chest right away. Holding your baby right away is seriously like the best feeling ever. And I remember just like, I felt like I was like sobbing and crying, but no tears were coming out. And I just looked at my husband and I was like, oh my God, she's here. And I just remember thinking like, man, she feels so little. You know, I had 2 8-pound babies and she just felt so little. And so I did skin to skin with her for a little while. I held her. And I just absolutely like loved on her. I was so happy to finally have like my little girl. I absolutely love the boys and I absolutely love my relationship with them, but I have been wanting forever, for the longest time, I've always wanted that mother-daughter relationship. And I think since my mom died, I've really wanted that more. Okay. I think since my mom died, I've really just wanted that relationship even more. I've just wanted to have that little girl that I could have that bond with. So just holding her was like, it was just phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. I was in love with her right away. I was so excited. So I got to do skin to skin with her for a little while. I didn't tear, which was really nice. With Brayden, I had an episiotomy. So I had a lot of stitches. And then Dominic, I had a small tear. With her, I didn't. I was really interested to see how much she weighed. So they weighed her. She was 6 pounds, 9 ounces. And I think she was like 19 and a half inches, 19 3/4. I can't remember. It was like 19 point something. Yeah, it was 19 point something. I can't remember. But she was 6 pounds, 9 ounces. And just having like a small little petite baby was like, it was so different to me because I'm used to like these 3-month-old size babies popping out of me. But she was perfect. She was so tiny and so little, and I just loved like having this little petite baby. So I just held her and I nursed her, and it was such a good day. The best day ever. She was born at 12:30 p.m. So I checked in at 6 o'clock. Pitocin started at 7. And she was born at 12:30. So only a couple of hours, super quick, super fast. I would not change a thing. Like, it was the best labor ever. I think part of me would like to, I kind of wish that I didn't get the epidural at all, because my body goes through labor fairly quickly, which I did warn my nurse of, and she kind of set up early for that, which she thanked me. She's like, I'm glad I set up early because otherwise we wouldn't have been set up in time to deliver. And what? And so I think I would have not gotten the epidural just because then I could have sat on the ball a little bit longer and I would have been more comfortable there than just laying in bed. But it was overall, it was an awesome day. We got set up. I had my first meal. We went down to recovery. Nobody came to visit us, which was honestly, it was so nice. We were only there for 24 hours. And just not having any visitors, just getting to bond with her, with just me and my husband, was just, it's exactly what I wanted. I didn't really want any visitors. I had rules for who could come visit us and who couldn't. I didn't want anyone sick coming up there or anything. That's the only thing that sucked, is the boys couldn't see her right away because they had the flu. But it was nice to just have that 24 hours of just us. It was really nice. So we got to go home the next day, and when we brought her home, I had asked the hospital for some masks to put on her, or to put on the boys, because they weren't allowed to hold her, but they could look at her. But that was it. So we had tons of hand sanitizer, tons of hand washing, and they had masks. And then I think when she was a week old, after we went to her first checkup, the doctor said, you know, if she was going to get the flu, she probably would have already gotten it. And, you know, we could keep the masks on them for a little bit longer, but they really didn't need them. So at her 1 week appointment, or when she was 1 week old, the boys finally got to hold her with masks on. And then I think like a couple days later, they got to hold her without the masks. But yeah, it was seriously like the best birth ever. I absolutely love labor and delivery. Like, it's my favorite thing ever. I'm going to go ahead and post some pictures at the end of the video of Ellie's birth, because I do have some pictures, and then I'll post some pictures of like her first day, things like that, and then when the boys finally got to hold her. But I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Ellie's birth is like one of my favorite things to talk about, along with the boys' births. I just, like I said, like, it's my favorite thing about like pregnancy and stuff, so it's just so interesting to me to hear other people's stories. So that's it for today. If you guys liked it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and check out my social media. Follow me on social media. That's it for today. Bye, guys.
I lose my breath whenever I see you. You stole my heart, what is it that you do? Was great till you added colors. Like the moon needs the sun, we don't care about the others. You set my world on fire. You're my heart's desire. I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Please tell me you'll stay or take me away. I want you for myself every single day. You set my world on fire. You set my world on fire. I don't know what I'd do without you. You make me smile, what is it that you do? My life was great till you added colors. Like the moon is the sun, we don't care about the others. You set my world on fire. You're my heart's desire. I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Please tell me you'll stay or take me away. I want you for myself every single day. You set my world on fire. You set my world on fire. I just want you, I just need you. I don't know what it is you do. I just want you, I just need you. I don't know what it is you do.